This is the first lecture for Chapter 15, which is Chemical Equilibrium, and we'll actually have about 3 chapters worth of equilibrium, but this first one just kind of gives us the basics. So when we talk about equilibrium, we're talking about how a reaction can kind of go back and forth from reactants to products and products to reactants. So this little visual here is just kind of expressing how we typically see a reaction proceeding, and we're changing the temperature at the conditions that this system is at. We won't go into too much detail on that, we'll kind of expand on that later. So looking at a reaction, there's a couple different ways we can examine it. In this one here, we're looking at rate. So we notice here, for example, based on the last slide we had reactants which were N2O4, and that was turning into NO2. And I guess we got a little 2 sitting here as well. But the reaction will actually go in both directions. So we see when we start this reaction off here, we have almost no products, as we see here, but we have lots of reactants. So as the reaction proceeds, the reaction slows down in regards to the reactants, and then it starts to speed up a little bit in the products. But after a period of time, the rate for both of them becomes constant or equal. The rates are the same at that given point. And we can vary this around a lot of different ways, but the main point we want to get at here is after a period of time, the rate of reactants going to products and products going to reactants becomes the same. So we can look at that differently over here. Last time we were looking at rate, this time we're looking at concentration. Notice that these don't have to be the same. This concentration and this concentration are different from each other. They have different amounts at a given amount of time. But once we come to an equilibrium, notice the concentrations do not change. So they can be as large or as small as we like, but the concentrations don't change and the give and take going back and forth remains the same. So for example, if I lose 2 products, I'm actually gaining them from the reactants. So again, it is a balance. So this is how we express, and I just wrote this on a previous slide, showing how we have reactants turning to products, and at the same rate, products turning back into reactants. Back and forth. It's an equilibrium. So we're going to introduce something new here, the constant for that. We just got done with kinetics, and what we can see here for the forward reaction, we see that, okay, we have these products turning into reactants, and we just wrote that out as a rate law. So the rate is the equivalent of the rate constant at some given temperature in the forward direction that is based upon the concentration of the reactants. And we're all good with that. Now again, we can do the same thing, but this time looking at the other direction, and here it is. So there's our products now written as reactants going in the opposite direction, reforming the original reactants. Now we're writing it as the products. And it's got its own rate. So this value is going to be different because it's going in the opposite direction. But when we're at equilibrium, this is going to end up being the same. So the rate of exchange going back and forth is the same. But remember, rate constant is going to be different because it's going in the opposite direction. And the concentration can be anything we want. It doesn't matter. So as we said, when the rates are at, or when we're at equilibrium, the rates are equal to each other. So rate of the forward, rate of the reverse are the same. So if they are the same, that means we can write the reactions for the rate laws being equal to each other. And then if we solve for the common variables, the rate constants on the left and the concentrations on the right, this is what we end up with. But we can change this value around. Remember, this expression here was a ratio itself. The rate constant is a ratio, this is a lot, I know, of the rate of the reaction divided by the concentration of the reactants. So if we just take these values, we don't need to know what they are right now. If we just take these values and combine them, we get a new term. So this we're going to rewrite as an equilibrium constant. That's all we need to worry about, the equilibrium constant. And what it is equal to is the concentrations of the reactants, concentration of the products over the concentration of the reactants. And we're going to expand this out here in just a second. Here we go. So this is our generalized reaction that we're just going to base this little equation off here. Here's my products. These are the coefficients that each one is raised to over the reactants and the coefficients that they have. So a nice easy way to think about this is it's very simply just products over reactants. And each one is going to be raised up to its coefficient. Reactants. I knew I was going to do that right, speaking and writing at the same time. So products over reactants, and each one raised up to its coefficients. So if I have a large K value, well, I guess we'll get to that in a minute. I know I have a slide on that a little later on. So looking at it from another perspective, the previous slide was looking at concentrations, which is like moles per liter. But as we mentioned in the previous chapter, we can also express concentration in regards to pressure, typically atmospheres. So what is the pressure of all these different variables, or the products over the reactants? We can do that as well. And we can see that using this equation. We're not going to worry too much about the derivation of this, but we talked about it in the last chapter, that pressure is an expression of concentration when you do it, set it up as such, where you have moles over volume. And we can derive this new equation, and this is taken for each one of those products and reactants and combining it together. So what we'll see here is the K value, which is just the equilibrium, can be derived by taking the concentration values, RT, that's all going to be a constant, and then just looking at the change in the number of moles, which is simply the number of moles of products minus reactants. So if you're ever asked to determine what the equilibrium expression is for gases, we can simply look at the equilibrium expression for the concentrations and change it over to gases based upon this equation here. And we'll see a couple examples of that in class, but we probably won't see that in the AP exam because I don't see the equation on your sheet anymore, your equation sheet anymore. I think it's on the previous one, but I don't think it's on the current one. We'll talk. Okay, so this is cut off a little bit at the top here. It says equilibrium can be reached from either direction. So we'll do a fun little experiment in class, demo, I guess, on that. But coming from a reaction, you can have all products or reactants, and we get to the same place. So we'll see an example or two of that. This is just showing a couple different experiments that were run, and they're in your book, which basically just demonstrates, depending upon what you're starting with, it really doesn't matter. Ultimately, you get to the same point. If you're talking about nitrogen dioxide, this is what you'll end up with. So here's a better explanation of that. This is the Haber process. We have three substances we're looking at here. We have hydrogen and nitrogen as reactants, and then we have the product, which is ammonia. And in this case right now, I'm going to say, okay, we only have reactants, so we don't have any products. But if I put these all in a container and let them react and mix, over a period of time, as we see, the concentrations will become constant. And these are the values that we have. And there's a ratio to that. Notice we have, just to make this easy, hydrogen over ammonia over nitrogen. And we can do the same thing on the other side. This time, we're only starting with reactants, and I have no reactants, and I only have products. So if I leave these in a container, what you're going to see is the reactant is going to shift to the left to balance this out. And after a period of time, equilibrium is achieved. Notice again that you have the exact same ratio of hydrogen to ammonia to nitrogen. Okay, that was a little bit. So we'll take a break here and we'll start on lecture number 2.